Look at the skyline of Seoul. For half a century, it has been dominated by one name, a name that represents 20% of South Korea's entire economy. Samsung. To the world, they are the kings of screens and the giants of smartphones. But as we stand here in 2026, the galaxy is fading. The empire that once looked invincible is being squeezed from both sides in a brutal global war. Between the relentless dominance of Apple in the high-end market and the aggressive rise of Chinese brands at the bottom, Samsung is losing its ground. This isn't just a business slump. It's an existential crisis for the most powerful family in Korea. This is the story of how the Samsung empire started to crumble. You see, Samsung's problem isn't that they make bad products. It's that they've lost their identity. In 2026, they find themselves in the deadly middle. They aren't as prestigious as Apple, and they aren't as cheap as Xiaomi or BYD. Today, I'm going to take you inside the secret emergency meetings at Samsung Electronics, the failure of their multi-billion-dollar chip foundry, and why the once mighty Lee family is facing a future they can no longer control. This is the autopsy of a hardware giant that forgot how to lead in a software world. To understand the crisis of 2026, we have to look at the Apple trap. For a decade, Samsung tried to beat the iPhone by having more features, more cameras, and bigger screens. But they realized too late that people don't buy iPhones for the specs, they buy them for the ecosystem. In 2026, the blue bubble effect and the integration of Apple's AI have created a wall that Samsung simply cannot climb. Even in their home market of South Korea, the younger generation is switching to iPhones in record numbers. The Galaxy brand, once a symbol of innovation, is starting to feel like the phone for parents. When you lose the youth, you lose the future. It's a demographic time bomb that is ticking louder every day. But the real disaster is hidden deep inside their factories. Samsung's true power was always their ability to manufacture what others couldn't. They were the world's primary source for memory chips and displays. But in 2025 and 2026, that foundation cracked. Their semiconductor division, which used to bankroll the entire company, hit a technological wall. While TSMC took the lead in the AI chip race, Samsung's foundry struggled with production yields and efficiency. The biggest customers, the ones who pay the billions, have moved their business elsewhere. Samsung went from being the world's factory to being a backup option. And in the world of high-tech, being second place is just a slow way of dying. Let's talk about the Chinese invasion. While Samsung was looking at Apple, they ignored what was happening in the West. Chinese manufacturers stopped making cheap clones and started making world-class hardware at prices Samsung couldn't match. In 2026, in markets like Europe, India, and Southeast Asia, Samsung's market share is being eaten alive. They are losing the volume game. And without volume, their massive supply chain becomes a liability. They have too many factories, too many models, and too much overhead. They are a heavyweight boxer trying to fight a swarm of bees. They are swinging hard, but they are hitting nothing but air. Inside the boardroom, the tension is reaching a breaking point. The leadership is paralyzed by a culture of fear and traditional hierarchy that doesn't work in the fast-paced AI era. While companies in Silicon Valley move at light speed, Samsung is bogged down by internal politics and a desperate attempt to protect the family legacy. In 2026, we are seeing a massive exodus of talent from Seoul to California and Shenzhen. The brightest Korean engineers no longer want to work for a chaebol that feels like a relic of the 20th century. They want to build the future, not maintain a monument to the past. And then there is this software curse. Samsung has tried for years to build its own software ecosystem. Tizen, Bixby, the list goes on. All of them failed. In 2026, as AI becomes the primary way we interact with technology, Samsung is still dependent on Google's Android. They are a hardware company in an era where hardware is becoming a commodity. They provide the body, but someone else provides the brain. This means they have no control over their own destiny. They are at the mercy of Google's whims and Apple's innovations. It's a dangerous place to be when you have hundreds of billions of dollars in debt and infrastructure to maintain. So what is the endgame for Samsung? In the business world of late 2026, rumors are starting to circulate about a massive restructuring, possibly even breaking the company apart. The Samsung Group, as we know it, might not survive the decade. They are facing the Nokia moment in slow motion. They have the cash, they have the patents, and they have the factories, but they lack the vision to tie it all together. They are a giant with no direction, drifting in a storm they didn't see coming. Look at the financial reports, and you'll see the Samsung discount. Investors are hesitant because the path to growth is no longer clear. The stock has become a value play that never seems to deliver value. In 2026, the market rewards intelligence and agility, two things that a massive, traditional conglomerate struggles to provide. For the Korean economy, this is a nightmare. If Samsung catches a cold, the whole country gets the flu. And right now, Samsung is in the intensive care unit. The lesson for every business is that dominance is a temporary state. Samsung spent so long being the best at manufacturing that they forgot to be the best at imagining. They built a better screen, but they forgot to build a better experience. The world of 2026 doesn't need more stuff. It needs more solutions. And unless Samsung can find a way to provide those solutions, the Galaxy will continue to shrink until there's nothing left but a memory of a time when Korea ruled the digital world. Will they find a way out? Can the new generation of leadership reinvent the giant? Or is Samsung destined to become the next Japanese electronics casualty, like Sony or Toshiba before them? The clock is ticking, and the competition isn't waiting. What do you think? Is your next phone going to be a Samsung, or have you already made the switch? Let me know in the comments. We're here to track the fall of empires so you can find the rise of the next one. Subscribe and stay ahead of the curve. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.